We've spent 15 years calling things private cloud that aren't. It's not what's in the rack. It's what Tuesday morning looks like. Validated isn't the same as integrated. Same hardware, different outcome. If lifecycle depends on a matrix, it's not a platform. If you're assembling lifecycle by hand, the platform isn't finished. Integration that only exists on a slide shows up here. If the platform can't see itself, it can't run itself. And if it can't run itself, guess who does? If moving a workload needs a project plan, you're not running a cloud. That's not a cloud. That's a collection of decisions. The industry spent 15 years building private cloud. Most of it is still infrastructure, packaged as a solution. The operating model never showed up. If it takes 5 consoles, 3 vendors, and a spreadsheet to explain, it's not a private cloud. It's a parts list, unified provisioning, observability, data protection, and resiliency. HPE Private Cloud, a unified operating model built for today's modern enterprise.
Please welcome Varma Kunaparaju.
Good morning. What a keynote, huh? The world of agentic enterprise is here, whether we like it or not. The number of challenges and the enterprises are really looking for lines of business demands IT to be AI ready more than ever before. The AI demands from business units is just the beginning. More and more businesses are going to ask the IT to kind of be AI ready more than ever before. When anybody looks at AI, the data and the data that provides inferencing, the data that provides the intelligence is at the core asset for any intelligence, and that is what data gravity today is making enterprises looking at AI to look at the data differently than they looked at the data ever before. That data gravity is what is making enterprises to look at their infrastructure stacks differently than what they looked at 4 years ago. Hybrid complexity. The infrastructure is no longer on-prem, no longer public, but it's a combination of hybrid. Hybrid is more real in AI than ever before, and hybrid is today's norm, and HPE is providing these solutions for a long time to bring the private, public, all of that coming together. The last but not the least, the cost unpredictability. Those of you who have seen the token economics in the last 2 months, from flat rate models to where customers are getting charged for the token usage is going to be here for a long time to come. Now people are talking about intelligent tokens, moderate tokens, and paying the tokens by the tokens efficiency and the participation in the intelligence itself. So the cost unpredictability started with virtualization to start with, but it is now extending to AI. All of these 4, if you look at independently, have their own complexities. But at the end of the day, if you look at all of them together, what is needed is the ability to run, operate, and give what IT is asked to give for the business in the form of a cloud operating model, an enterprise workload that needs to be delivered as a business service to from the IT to the lines of business. If you look at that, the infrastructure could be anywhere, could be from edge all the way to a public cloud. Edge and every edge location is becoming more and more complex because there is inferencing, there is business applications that are running at the edge. If you will see in a few minutes, Home Depot, every store is running a data center almost at the edge. So then on top of the infrastructure, you have the runtime. The runtime that existed 15 years ago in the form of virtualization needs to be reimagined in the context of AI and cloud-native workloads. It's more containerized. Every AI native application is a cloud-native application. So as a result, it is a combination of virtualization and containerization as a runtime at the bottom of the stack. Now, if you look at this workload, the workload could be anywhere, and fast forward this, that enterprise infrastructure and workloads are more and more becoming autonomous because agents, it's not just human operators, but agents are operating on that infrastructure operations, and that human and agents working together is what, in my view, is the modern AI-driven agentic operations that is going to take place. All those agents behave like humans. They need to kind of have governance, and the governance is a very important piece. Human agent governance is the most important piece when the agents are operating on behalf of the infrastructure operations for routine mundane tasks to complex reasoned availability and decisions to orchestrate and adjust the workloads taking place on the infrastructure. That is the modern operations evolution when we combine human intelligence with machine intelligence coming together, and that's what GreenLake Intelligence is going to come together and bring that together. We have co-pilots for orchestration to operations observability to take decisions and adjust those workloads to make operations highly efficient and deliver the outcomes that the enterprise IT is looking for. Now, with one operating model, unified cloud operations is the most important piece of the puzzle in the edge to cloud infrastructure that every enterprise is managing today. Let's go take a look at what that looks like from an enterprise point of view. At the beginning of any infrastructure, you need to discover all of your infrastructure from edge to all the way to the public cloud. Then you have, once you understand the brownfield and the new workloads that are coming up in the form of AI and agentic, once you discover all those workloads, you need a very powerful orchestration, provisioning and orchestration platform, because the Kubernetes and the virtualization stacks needs a control plane that allows those workloads to be provisioned and orchestrated at the most efficient location that they need to be. Once you do the provisioning and orchestration, the observability to kind of understand, and not only understand from an availability and capacity point of view, but more and more from AI point of view. In terms of utilization for tokens and time to first token, and AI native observability is needed if the workloads are running with agentic stuff underneath. Once you have all of that, you need to protect and optimize that, from a resiliency point of view, because these applications need to be the lifeblood for running all of the things. So this is a continuous loop. If you look at that, understanding that protection and feedback to that to come back and really make the end-to-end workload availability is not a one-time provisioning and orchestration, one-time observability. This needs to be a continuous loop, and the software silos, if you saw the video, the silos does not help if you have to bring all of that together. That is what the CloudOps suite from HPE is going to bring that together. You have provisioning and orchestration with our HPE Morpheus new version, Morpheus 9, that we released with agentic capabilities to be able to provision, orchestrate with intelligence built into it, full stack observability in the form of OpsRamp, and protection in the form of Zerto. This unified control plane is what every enterprise needs, whether you are running in a private cloud, whether you're running in a hybrid cloud, or whether you are running in a mix of both private and public clouds. So one unified control for AI and enterprise workloads is wherever they are running is what HPE is bringing in the form of CloudOps Suite. So in this Discover, you have a lot of announcements around CloudOps Suite and how we are bringing all of that together with a GreenLake Intelligence tying those pieces together. Now, let's go, this is my last slide. What does this mean for someone who is in the audience here, who is running this IT operations? At the end of the day, IT needs to be a service provider to the business. The most embarrassment for any IT person is when the business unit comes and says, do you know my application is not running? So that ability to kind of cut across DevOps, IT ops, FinOps, GreenOps, all of them coming together to make an IT to behave like a service provider is what an enterprise IT is looking from every single enterprise IT organization to the lines of business, what the business units are expecting. There is no better way to kind of understand this, without going through a customer and putting a customer's real story to share the journey of a large enterprise and their workloads look like. So with that, I would like to kind of, my first guest is Zach, who runs the entire IT infrastructure for Home Depot. And I would like to invite Zach to join me to share the story of the infrastructure operations that he's doing.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Absolutely.
Zach, you've been at Home Depot. Home Depot is a very well-known brand. There is no one in this room who potentially not shop on a Saturday to go and find a home improvement project from their spouse. When they go into the home store or Home Depot, what is the number one thing that they look is, from the store and store operations point of view? You have 2,500 stores around the world, 50 US states, 32 Mexican states, and 10 Canadian stores. You have a large infrastructure going from, describe your environment there.
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, thanks for having me. It's great to be here. Home Depot, some of you might recognize the logo. We do sponsor the World Cup, so there could be some people who aren't familiar with our core business. We are the largest specialty home improvement retailer in the world. Right? We operate 2,300 stores, a little over 2,300 stores across US, Canada, and Mexico. If you look across all of Home Depot, I have roughly 470,000 coworkers that all touch technology at any given point during their day. And so that's a little bit about the company at large. If you look at kind of where we are in infrastructure and IT, we run a hybrid environment. So we use services in the cloud, control planes, common services, all the way down to a full stack private compute in the stores.
So, what are the most important business outcomes from your IT organization when you are expected to kind of operate these global stores that you need to deliver? What is the most important business outcomes that IT organization is expected to do?
Absolutely. If you look at Home Depot, our goal is to have the best interconnected retail experience possible. Whether you buy online on the marketplace and pick up in a store, ship to your home, or if you're a pro building a home addition and you need materials delivered on a flatbed, we don't want to make that easy. We want to make that as frictionless as possible, and IT is part of that. So the way I help support that is through stability, right, availability, and consistency of services we run across all 2,300 stores. So the more consistent we can make that, the best customer experience and the best experience you have when you check out. Whether you're the first customer in the door in the morning or the last customer when we close, you should have the same experience, and it should always be great.
That's fantastic. you have a store and you have at the edge a large infrastructure that is running at the edge to kind of make these things. Give us a little bit of a description about what is your edge environment look like at your stores and what is essential to delivering that retail experience at the edge?
For sure, it's a great question. So we, as I mentioned, we run a full stack private compute in our stores. That's based off GreenLake, right? That's why we're here. One of the interesting things we did is we actually also enabled managed services through HPE. So now HPE, not only do you have the hardware, you also manage hardware all the way through virtualization for us. And that enabled my organization to refocus on business problems. And so we kind of just moved up the stack versus maintaining and patching and doing all the operational efficiency stuff across the scale we operate in. It made a lot of sense for us to kind of package that together with HPE and then focus on observability, better outcomes, reducing developer friction, that kind of stuff.
How have you partnered with HPE to kind of improve like performance, scalability, resilience, and operational efficiency that you need to get at the stores now?
Yeah, it's a partnership is the best way to describe it. We mentioned managed services. We meet, we talk about SLAs and SLOs. We talk about what's going well, what's going not. We talk about how we get better visibility into the state of the infrastructure. How do we roll that up to more business stakeholders? So I think we're working together really well in a complex hybrid environment to produce confidence in the stability of our platforms at the edge.
That's interesting, you know. But your estate is not just at the edge. You have end-to-end, and you have near edge. You have data centers near the stores, and then you have some workloads running in the public cloud, and you have a true hybrid estate. So can you talk about a little bit about the complexity and how you have managed it and how you have reduced this complexity from edge to the hybrid?
Sure. I'm sure a lot of us in this room probably have some of these problems. We mentioned 2,300 stores. The store here in Las Vegas, how do I know it's ready for business when they open at 6 a.m. in the morning? How do I know that they're ready for transactions at lunch or at store close? How do I do that across US and Canada and provinces? How do I do that at scale? And that's kind of what we're trying to tackle now is just how confident are we that we're ready for any kind of business, whether that's a pro customer coming in, buying at scale, or somebody coming in to fix a problem they're having in real time.
Yeah. No, you have kind of complex IT operations, right? You know, between edge to cloud. And how have you simplified those IT operations? In what capacity did you kind of really put a single pane of glass, or being able to kind of run these operations end to end?
For sure, I think it's still a lot of traditional IT patterns. We get a lot of observability out of GreenLake, and that helps us a ton. We have instrumentation and alerting that gets rolled up centrally. So we have a good idea of what's broken where. We're trying to get better at fixing it before everybody knows it's broken. So how do we get more proactive? How do we get more automated analysis coming in? How do we get more visibility and recommendations earlier in the process and keep shifting that from a reactive kind of break-fix environment to a more managed, proactive environment at the scale we operate in. It's a challenge.
It's very, very big challenge for you because, you have some applications running in the cloud, and you have, applications running in the store and applications running at near the edge. So with the virtualization shift, I know you kind of have made some changes in the virtualization environment. Tell our audience, what you have done in the virtualization changes that you addressed in the recent days.
Yeah, so virtualization hasn't had much choice in the last few years, right? And HPE and other vendors have brought choice into that, which I really like. Layer on that with managed services, we kind of get to pick which hypervisor or which virtualization we need to go with, and so it allows us flexibility in composing solutions to fit the right business cases where needed. No longer am I just deploying, one hypervisor because that's what's available. Now I have choice to make sure I'm solving the true business problem at the right investment, at the right scale, at the right location.
And I think, maybe one of the things that I'm super impressed with what you have done from an edge to cloud and how you kind of really created an operating model. And I remembered very well when I came and visited you folks, you said, your number one thing is to be able to make the store manager go with confidence that he can open the store and do the transaction every single day that he opens the store. And I think, Now, with all the AI and AI-related things that is taking place, how are you leveraging AI to make this journey more proactive, more not reactive, not less reactive, but more proactive to be able to kind of give that confidence, both to the consumer as well as to the store operations?
It's a really good question. It's a hard question. I think a lot of us are probably in the same situation in this room trying to find the answer to that. I think if you look at patterns, there's developer efficiency with coding, right? Testing, documentation, which just makes more stable code. There's stuff from alert analysis to, we have a bunch of alerts or alerts that are happening. It can do analysis for us. Agentic is interesting for us. I'm sure a lot of people in the audience on how that can help troubleshoot at scale. We're exploring. Home Depot is very pragmatic, right? If we can solve a business problem with AI, we're going to go after it. That's how we're approaching it. As capabilities become available, whether that's vendor, SaaS, or homegrown, we'll implement those where it makes the most sense.
Thank you, Jack. I think that was very, very insightful on what you are doing with respect to the operations. And what it really, truly means is a modern way of running these operations is super clear. And I think as enterprises really adopt the agentic and AI-driven things, some of the learnings from a large infrastructure that you are running could be of great use. And thank you for your partnership with HPE. And we couldn't be more excited about what we can do together as we take the journey forward.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you. As you heard from Zach, to deliver autonomous IT, you need to bridge the silos. Unified AIOps-driven command center is super critical. Self-provision, self-manage on the provisioning side to kind of bridging the silos. Move from IT to be a service provider really requires that observability data to really feed back into what is needed for an enterprise IT to kind of give the application resiliency that is required. IT to become an internal service provider to the business with growing pressure to modernize, innovate, and get value from IT and AI is here. And I think we are here, HP is here with our CloudOps suite that you have seen in the morning announcement to bring all of that together with consumption models that allows you to take advantage with cloud commit kind of a model that allows you to use any of the suite from Morpheus, VME, to Morpheus Enterprise, to OpsRamp, to Zerto, all of them together to give and deliver this agentic CloudOps. This is what the CloudOps delivers today, and you wanted to be proactive. You wanted to solve the challenges. Too many silos doesn't help in moving the enterprise to get to where a proactive operations here. With that, I would like to invite, I think the slides got clipped. Can you? Yeah. With that, I would like to invite Sherry to come and share the private cloud story. Sherry?
Thank you, Varma. Hello, everyone. What a morning it's been. Hopefully you were able to attend Fidelma's keynote, packed with updates and evolution and innovation in the hybrid cloud portfolio. Varma just shared what has been happening in the CloudOps suite. I'm going to talk a little bit about what we're doing in the private cloud portfolio, part of hybrid cloud, and some of the things that matter and the things that we've been working on. Private cloud is an operating model, an engineered systems approach to the operating model. The control plane that Varma talked about is built into the private cloud portfolio from the very start. So you don't need to integrate it in as you go. We are really focused on that integrated operating model, not delivering a bag of parts or a collection of parts that you have to integrate. We do the work for you by integrating and shipping these engineered systems. The goal is to make it incredibly simple, straightforward, and easy for you to deploy these products in your environments. Private cloud is continuing to evolve. Today, it's estimated that over 90% of enterprises are operating or deploying a private cloud today. It's a significant number if you really step back and think about what's happened over the last 15 or 20 years. Over 50% are making private cloud the first choice for where they deploy new workloads. The first choice where they're deploying AI workloads, for example, some of the complex workloads that are evolving in the industry. And what we're finding in private cloud is nearly a 50% year-over-year savings in the process of moving into public cloud. These are engineered, again, as one system, so your lean teams can operate faster, more predictable, and to scale across your connected estate and as you adopt new workloads such as AI. So why is HPE Private Cloud different? Well, first of all, we're focused on supporting you in the virtualization reset, or rethinking how you approach virtualization. We have embedded HPE VM Essentials into all of the private cloud offers, and I'll share those offers on the next slide. But we've embedded it into all of the offers. For our PC 3000 offer, you can actually run VMware and VME in the same box. I personally think that's very interesting and compelling as you think about your virtualization strategy. What this enables you to do is continue to run your VMware workloads, but also start to experiment with VME. So you can move workloads, migrate workloads one by one to utilize VME as you get comfortable and familiar with VME and as we continue to add more and more capabilities. Fidelma announced Morpheus 9 this morning. The amount of progress on VME in the last year is absolutely phenomenal. I really encourage you to take a look at that, explore all the capabilities that have been delivered, which she noted this morning includes microsegmentation and stretch clusters, amongst many, many more enhancements. So being able to run VME and VMware in the same box gives you an opportunity to explore that optionality that many of you are looking for in your virtualization journey. We also allow, in the PC 3000, you to run containers. I personally find this very exciting because I think containers are hard. And the ability to actually have the easy button to spin up containers in PC 3000 is a very compelling offer, in my opinion, as you look for building out more and more applications that are dependent on containers. I'm also really excited that we offer one fleet, core to edge, edge to core. What does this actually mean? That all the products in the private cloud portfolio actually integrate together and work together in one ecosystem, in one private cloud ecosystem, managed by what we call the private cloud control plane, which is based on Morpheus, and that allows you to have a seamless private cloud experience from core to edge. This gives you a consistent experience from day 0 to day 1 across this entire ecosystem. We also allow you to choose what system is appropriate for what use case you have. So if you're running virtualization or looking for virtualization workloads, our PC 1000 and PC 3000 are probably the right offers for you. If you're looking for something that's more tuned to AI, our private cloud AI offer is probably more appropriate. And for very complex environments, PC 7000. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in the next slide. What's critical for me that I really want you to all understand is these are engineered systems that are turnkey systems to make it very easy for you to deploy both AI and mixed workloads. We can have one of these systems deployed and up and running in your data center in less than 8 hours. That gives time to value incredible for you to actually get your workloads up and running, addressing some of the challenges in your environment. And finally, all of the offers in the private cloud portfolio are offered both connected as well as sovereign and air-gapped. So for your very compliance-oriented, regulated environments where you need that level of rigor for air-gapped, any of these offers will suit those needs. And they meet the NIST and IL4 standards in the US, as well as many of the standards in Europe. So let's take a look at this portfolio quickly. So on the far left, right, is PC 1000, also known as HPE SimpliVity. This is our hyper-converged offer, everything in one box, really plays very nicely at the edge in data centers or the edge locations where you don't necessarily have IT staff. Our PC 3000, formerly known as Private Cloud Business Edition, is our disaggregated converged infrastructure. This is for mid-size core and edge locations. It can scale. You can scale compute and storage independently. It can scale from very small deployments to very large deployments. This is a great environment for your virtualization workloads. This is where, in fact, you can run VME and VMware in the same system. And this is also, we just very happy to announce the container support in the last month. Now, Private Cloud Enterprise, or PC 7000, is our large-scale, built for very large deployments, enterprises, and this system supports bare metal as a service, VMs as a service, containers as a service. This is a managed for you environment. And think of it as we build for you an AWS instance or an Azure instance in your private cloud environment. It's very complex, but it provides all those capabilities that you have come to appreciate in AWS and Azure. And then last but not least is our private cloud AI solution. This is our turnkey, fully integrated offer, co-engineered with NVIDIA. That includes the ProLiant Gen 12 servers with either RTX 6000 Pro GPUs or H200s. We are now introducing HPE Electros MP Storage X10K in this, which then gives you all the richness of the data intelligence layer that comes with the X10000. We also then embed NVIDIA's NVAIE software stack and their NIMs, as well as HPE's AI Essential software stack, HPE's Data Fabric, which Fadama talked about in the keynote as well, that's bundled in. We have OpsRamp included, which gives you observability of the entire appliance, as well as the ability to monitor the GPUs and the GPU utilization. And this is all supported by Morpheus, bringing the containerization capability into private cloud AI. 4 products that are addressing all your workloads, from enterprise, mixed, complex to AI workloads, all unified by this private cloud control plane that gives you that hybrid cloud operating experience that Varma talked about, brings the whole ecosystem together and allows you to manage it, operate it as one private cloud ecosystem. Now, I can talk all day about this stuff. I obviously love it. I'm super excited about everything that we're doing. But nothing speaks more eloquently than a customer with a real use case of how they're using these products. So I'm delighted to have Renee Weaver from Six Flags Entertainment Corporation to join us on stage today to talk about how they're using HPE's private cloud portfolio in their day-to-day operations. Please help me welcome Renee. Welcome to HPE.
Thank you.
So can you tell the audience a little bit about your role and your team?
Sure. So I am the senior infrastructure architect for Six Flags. I came from Cedar Fair, so when we merged almost 2 years ago. So anything new that's going to come on our network, whether it's servers, APs, anything like that, I get involved to make sure that it's going to communicate with only the necessary things that it needs to communicate with. Build servers, do all kinds of things, I'm not sure.
Okay, well, let's talk a little bit about the infrastructure and what it does to power Six Flags and how it impacts the customer experience.
Sure, so as soon as you download our app and you sign up for a membership, you're going to kind of touch base a little bit with the infrastructure at our parks, because when you come to the front gate and you scan your barcode, we want to make sure that even if the internet's down, even if something's happening, you can get into the park. You can come in, you can use your pass, you can use your discounts, you can get your food, your drinks, your fast lane, whatever it is that you would like to use. We run that. There's some local copies of all of that data for us. So,
I recently attended one of the parks, and it's been a few years. My kids are grown up. It's been a few years. And I was amazed by the technology, and I just bring my phone and click, and on
Yes.
I go through the park.
all on the phone.
It's actually very impressive. So why do you keep some of your key systems local rather than putting everything in the public cloud?
Kind of going back to that, we really want to make sure when the guests come to the park that we can scan your ticket, we can let you in, we can let you have a good day. It's all about the guest experience. We want to make sure that when you go to get your meal for your kid that's really hungry and it's really hot and they're tired, we can just give you the food. If the system is down and we can't validate that you have the pass, then obviously we're making everybody upset. It's a bad guest experience. So, and we all know internet sometimes goes down.
It does, and it's not just little kids who get hungry and crabby. Some of us adults
Yes.
do too. So, during the merger, what changed that forced you to look at a different approach?
So when we were Cedar Fair, we had 13 sites that had equipment on site. And then we merged with Six Flags, which brought on, I think, we're at a total of 42 sites now. So that was a lot. And our team is very small. There is 3 of us on the infrastructure team. So we do all the programming for the network switches. We do the server build-outs, the SANs, all of that stuff. So we realized really quickly that we needed something easier. We couldn't just buy servers, install them ourselves, we couldn't even make it to the parks in time to install the equipment physically and get ESX installed and get everything ready to rock and roll in the time frame that we had. So we reached out to our HP team and said, can you guys help us? What's something that can help us get this done a little bit more efficiently? And not only getting it started efficiently, but then moving forward, making our jobs easier since we made so many more sites.
When we spoke on the phone a few weeks ago, I was truly shocked when you said 3 engineers and 42 sites. And just thinking about patching that, I went to day 2 and thinking about patching that and how could you possibly do it with 3 people?
So before the merger, we had 3 as well. And it took us a good 2 to 3 months to patch all of our hosts, our core switches, our storage, everything, it just took 3 months because you have to schedule it. It was a lot of manual intervention. And there was no way we were going to be able to continue that with the rest of the sites. When we end up going, I'm going to PC 3000, sorry. I call it PCBE.
It's okay, we're all in a transition.
Yes.
Learning.
When we went to that, it made things a lot easier for us. We now can schedule it, and we go in and just, there's like maybe 3 or 4 buttons to click, and it does it automatically for us. It will put the hosts in maintenance mode, it will do the updates for firmware, VMware, reboot, comes back up. It does the same thing with the storage all at one time. So we literally, the 3 of us, can do this. I think we could probably get it done in less than a month, and that's just because of scheduling it.
That's, I mean,
It's huge.
it's huge. I spent some time in working on what I always say the other side of the table are, but in roles like yours, and the actual life cycle management aspect of a fleet like that is so much work. And to be able to do that so quickly it's got to be a game changer for you guys. You mentioned the firmware updates used to take months. Now you can probably do it in a month, the entire fleet. What do you see as how does that free you up, your team up, to be able to do other things? Because you talked about doing the networking. I mean, you guys are doing it all.
Yes. It did free us up quite a bit. Our next challenge we're actually working on is how do we do something similar on the network side? So we're kind of able to spend a little bit more time to dig into what's available out there for us to make everything else better.
The network's hard too.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. You're also a GreenLake customer.
Mhm.
What has that experience been like for you?
It has been amazing. So one of the big things previously, before the PCBE, when we would do the upgrades, we have a team that will meet with us. We actually meet once a month, and it's been a lot of the same same HPE team for a few years now. They know our environment. They know that we have a lockout period for upgrades, and they will tell us, okay, if you are going to run this version of the host, then you need this ILO version, and you need this version on your storage, and you need, all of these things. They do all that work for us so that I don't have to spend time to say, okay, we got to get to here because the security team says there's a CVE. How do we get there? Oh, we need to go to this version of VMware, and we need to go to this version on the storage, and that takes a lot of time. So
Yeah, one of the things I didn't talk about when I was going through the slides is the need to be really focused on security and vulnerability management. And our private cloud portfolio, we really focus on delivering security fixes on a quarterly basis to help address those needs that you have in the environment. And I just think that's a really important thing to call out, because especially when you're a small team, you probably don't have the capabilities to be scanning your systems and looking for things. Part of our goal is to deliver that for you.
And yes, they help, but like as soon as there's a CVE that they know we're affected by, they're coming to us and letting us know right away. So it's been very helpful.
So if we kind of look ahead, what are you exploring next?
Trying to get kind of a similar situation with networking so that we aren't spending months of time working on getting our network upgraded to stay in that, the security of it. We want to stay in that good version of the codes. We don't want the bugs. We don't want all that. But we have, I think we're at over 4,000 switches from all of our parks. So we have a lot.
You do have a lot. Wow. A little free question we didn't plan on, but are you guys looking at AI at all?
We're starting to. We've started a team to kind of dig into what do we want to do with AI. So we're kind of getting our feet wet a little bit and seeing where it's going to take us. So
yeah, it's a journey, and as busy as you are, I'm sure freeing up time to think about it is a challenge as well.
yes.
Anything else that you'd like to share?
I don't know. I don't think so. Thank you for having me.
Oh, absolutely. We're so delighted to have you here. There's some metrics and so forth on the screen that you guys can take a look at. And Renee will be here at the front if you have any questions and you'd like to talk with her. But yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
So we've had two customers, very different businesses, but very similar challenges, very similar problems that they're trying to solve. The Home Depot is also a private cloud customer and a GreenLake customer. Six Flags also a private cloud customer and a GreenLake customer. As I noted at the beginning, our goal is to make the private cloud portfolio very easy, very simple, very straightforward for you to deploy, so that you can focus on other things like exploring AI, looking at GreenLake Intelligence, looking at expanding and adding agents into these environments. We deliver a unified environment for you, same across the entire portfolio, that allows you to provision, observe, and protect your environment with security and governance. We provide full stack solutions that are built for today's enterprise and for the complex workloads you're all trying to manage. We run all of this on GreenLake Cloud Platform, which then empowers you with things like GreenLake Intelligence and the ability to bring that agentic framework into your environments. GreenLake, the operating model is what allows you to scale, allows you to grow this environment, expand it from core to edge, even into the cloud. And it gives you the visibility you need to really realize that autonomous environment that Varma talked about. We all hope that in a year or two, when you come to Discover, you won't have to worry about what's going on back at the ranch or back in home, because you're able to leverage things like GreenLake Intelligence, agents, security, governance of those agents, working in an autonomous environment so that your environments are just running smoothly while you have the ability to come to Discover and enjoy a few days away. I hope you enjoy the rest of the time here. If you have any questions, Varma and I would be happy to field anything and chat with you. Otherwise, enjoy the rest of your day, enjoy the concert tonight, and thank you for your time.